OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, it's CODY here from the Outcasted OC podcast and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. I ain't wasting any time with this, let's get straight into it. So we first off got to see Cody Rhodes arriving to the arena and we got to see Michael Cole say that it is official, that at WrestleMania 40 or WrestleMania XL, we will be getting Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. Then we started off the show with a 6-man tag match, which was the New Day and Jey Uso taking on Imperium. I am not going to lie to you, this match got a lot of time and it got a lot of good time to show the wrestlers and their capabilities within this match as well too. So Ludwig and Kofi start off the match, they're exchanging chops, then Ludwig ends up elbowing onto Kofi. We see a standing drop kick come in from Kofi Kingston and then the New Day end up double teaming Imperium. Then we end up seeing Jey Uso and Gunther actually steer down, which that leads to something later on in the match. And then we end up seeing Gunther and Giovanni both double teaming Jey Uso. Gunther ends up chopping Jey Uso and then Jey Uso ends up finding a little bit of steam. We go to commercial break, but when we come back, Xavier Woods explodes out of the corner and we see Kofi hitting a really nice crossbody as well. We end up seeing Gunther working Kofi and then ends up putting Kofi Kingston into the Boston Crab. Jey Uso comes in and starts slapping Gunther as well too, and then Gunther ends up mocking Jey Uso. He tries to go for his signature splash off the top ropes, but then we end up seeing Jey Uso get his knees up. He ends up hitting a spear onto Gunther and then we see a 1D move come in from the entirety of New Day as well as Jey Uso. Jey Uso hits the frog splash onto Giovanni Vinci to come away with the win, so it was the New Day and Jey Uso that won the match. Like I said, it was a really good match, a lot of time in it as well too, and it was a really good performance from all 6 contenders. Following this match, we got to see a reminder / recap of the WrestleMania kickoff event that happened last week, and we got to see a video package come in from Andrade. Now, Andrade has actually signed with the Monday Night Raw brand, so it'll be really interesting to see where he gets placed moving forward. Personally, I would like to see him challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, but hey, a girl can dream. Following this, we end up having our first Elimination Chamber qualifying match of the evening. So it is Bobby Lashley taking on Bronson Reed. Now, this was a short match. We ended up seeing the Pride, which is obviously the Street Profits, and B-Fab come out with Bobby Lashley to obviously do his entrance. So Bronson Reed ends up headbutting Bobby Lashley and then he ends up manhandling him as well too. Bobby tries to put in the Hurt Lock and then we end up seeing Bobby shoulder tackling Bronson and then Bobby is thrown into the ring post. We end up seeing that Bronson ends up throwing Bobby Lashley into the timekeeper's area as well too. Bobby hits a really nice suplex on Bronson and then Bronson ends up hitting goodnight on him. Bobby ends up hitting Bronson with a really nice spike and then Bronson hits a senton, goes to head to set up the tsunami, and we see Bobby Lashley come in with a power slam and spear combo to come away with the win. Yes, I said that. Bobby Lashley won this match, which is a qualifying match for Elimination Chamber, which is happening in Australia. Just let that sink in for a second. An Australian wrestler is not going to be a part of the Elimination Chamber. Like, WWE, you had all the puzzle pieces to make it a pretty puzzle. And all you had to do was put Bronson Reed in this match and you couldn't even do that. Like, it genuinely upset me. I actually was, like, I'm happy to see Bobby Lashley and I was happy that he got this moment. Do not get me wrong. But I was really frustrated. I was like, well, you've got a whole bunch of Australian talent in the roster that really could have done with this shining spotlight moment, and this was something that I really wanted to see. I really wanted to see Bronson come to his home country and be a part of this match. So it kind of gives me a little bit of insecurity that a lot of the other Australian wrestlers won't be getting this moment, so I'm hoping that they fix it because it's just disappointing on WWE's end. We've got some video recaps and some backstage segments to sort through, so let's go over those. So we got to see the ending of the bull rope match between Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke Nakamura last week. Then, obviously, at the end of the match, we saw Drew McIntyre attack Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn came out to defend Cody. That wasn't shown on the broadcast, that was after the show. After this, we end up seeing Jackie Redmond is catching up with Sami Zayn and she's asking, how are you feeling about your match from last week? And he said, normally I'd feel a sense of embarrassment, but I've got that other sense of belief within myself. And he's talking about how he's going to work his way back up and he wants to make himself a star again. And then we see Shinsuke Nakamura come in and hit a really haunting promo on Sami Zayn as well too. They're having a match later on in the main event, so that kind of leads towards that. Then we get to see Cody Rhodes is making his way out to the ring. Before we hit the Cody Rhodes segment, we obviously got to see media reactions to The Rock slapping Cody Rhodes from a bunch of different media outlets. So obviously just from the WrestleMania XL press conference that we had last week. So Cody Rhodes comes out to the ring and he cuts a promo. He starts talking to the crowd and he wants to thank the fans for making their voices heard. Obviously, the whole We Want Cody movement happened last week, and this is how we've got that match back at WrestleMania. And he asks, how can I repay you guys? And he turns and looks at that WrestleMania sign. And he said, the reason why I love being back here in WWE so much is because I am super passionate about my legacy and wanting to make people proud. He said, he doesn't want to be emotional. But he feels as though he is going to be emotional, and he kind of references himself to being like a Cody crybaby. Then we get the Rocky Sucks chants coming in from that. Cody asks them to pull up on the Titantron some reference footage from the Pat McAfee show that happened last week, where The Rock turned heel and he was talking about how Cody's fans are now known as Cody crybabies. Rock was talking about chicken nuggets or something, and then they cut back from that, and Cody's like, look, Pat, I just want to ask you one question, like, what do we do with the chicken nuggets kind of thing? He follows on by saying, I am a really big fan of The Rock, but one thing that he doesn't do is he doesn't listen. He said, I never once referenced his family, and then he just decided to slap me in public. And, at the end of the day, that is not the people's champ energy that we want. And he said, if anything, The Rock and Roman teaming up together is considered the most perfect storm. And he said, because you hit me, I will hit you back. We end up hearing Seth Rollins' music hits, so Seth comes out to the ring and starts talking with Cody. Cody says to Seth that he needs to take a bow, and he thanks Seth Rollins for being there with him for that press conference and obviously coming to his defense. Seth goes on and says, what can I say except you're welcome, which, if you know, that is a quote from Maui from Moana, which was quite fitting because Moana is, The Rock's in Moana. It was quite funny. I popped really hard for that. And he said, at the end of the day, I'm really looking forward to you finishing your story and you going up against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Millions of people want you to finish this story, but I need to be very clear with you. You need to finish your story. Not just for you, not just for your family, but for everybody, including your dad. He said, if anything, you really need to beat Roman this time, because if you don't, the other side of the brands will be insanely dark, obviously referring to SmackDown. He said that Roman Reigns will become more powerful, and this is our last real chance to take over and to make sure that that power is not given to the wrong person. And he said, look, I really hope that you are the man for this job, but what is your plan? Because last year you got so screwed over by him and the bloodline that you never thought you'd find your way back here, and obviously you've won the Royal Rumble and proven yourself again, and if anything, the bar has been raised since last time because you are now dealing with The Rock. And he said, I agree with you. You do not want to fight this battle alone. And he said, I'm so sick and tired of people like Roman Reigns and The Rock coming in and having these massive egos and thinking that they can do anything and everything that you want. I started to feel quite emotional because I was really understanding and resonating with Seth Rollins' promo. For him to go ahead and say, because I was like screaming at my TV when I was watching this, I'm like, come on Seth, like you can say what we're all feeling. And he goes, I just want to admit it to you. The way Roman Reigns is partially my fault. And I started instantly thinking back to the Shield betrayal that Seth did back in the day. And he goes, it was about 12 years ago. We'd all come walking down through the crowd, in vests and everything, ready to battle. And, at the end of the day, I did betray him. And he said, he has become this massive monster. But if anything, Roman is now a monster with two heads, obviously now referring to the fact that The Rock is there as well. And he said, if anything, you need to not only fight the bloodline, you need to fight The Rock, and you need to fight Roman Reigns. And he said, I know one man, and I started crying when he said this. He goes, I know one man who is suited to be your shield. I can't even finish saying it. Who is suited to be your shield. And I was like, oh man, don't do this to me. So if anything, we can now see that Seth Rollins is willing to help and defend Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Whether that's in a tag match form or in the one-on-one match, it'll be exciting to see, because it looks like the odds are now being stacked against the bloodline and Rock and Roman, considering that now Cody Rhodes has another person who's willing to help him. So it's still kind of 2-on-4 in the sense, but 2-on-4 is better than 1-on-4, am I right? As Kathy Kelly's backstage and she's catching up with the New Day and Jey Uso following the win, and she makes it known that Gunther will be defending the IC title next week against Jey Uso, which I think that is going to be a banger of a match. Then we got to see Liv Morgan and Zoe Stark hyping up their qualifying match for tonight for the Elimination Chamber, talking about how they both deserve the opportunity to be in the match. So we get to the match between Liv Morgan and Zoe Stark. Now this is an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, and I am not going to lie to you, I personally think the wrong person won this match. You guys probably know it by now, I'm not a massive fan of Liv Morgan, and I don't come on here and hate her for everything that she does like most people do online. I quite literally just talk about what I see on like WWE television, and Anyway, so Liv Morgan tries to roll up Zoe very quickly from the beginning. Zoe ends up hitting a clothesline and then she ends up punching Liv Morgan. Then Liv ends up sending Zoe flying and then she hits a springboard kick as well. We see a lot of shots being thrown between the two of them, and then we hit a commercial break. After this, Liv Morgan's on the attack. She hits a code breaker. Zoe hits a really nice power bomb onto Liv. Zoe hits a missile drop kick, and then she ends up sending Liv Morgan into the ring post. Liv hits the Oblivion to come away with the win. So I don't know. Like, I'm just really not excited. I don't understand why Liv Morgan needs to be in every single Elimination Chamber match. Like, every single one. It gives me the same vibes as Natalya needing to be in every single Royal Rumble. Like, we just don't need you in every single match. Personally, I'm not really looking forward to her being a part of the match because I don't really like Liv Morgan's wrestling style. I don't really think she can wrestle very well. And I just feel like it's just going to put a dampener on the rest of the match. Now, that could just be me thinking into it too much and me just being upset because she's going to be a part of it. I would have much preferred to see Zoe Stark in this match. I feel like the Elimination Chamber, the brutality, the entire match stipulation would work so much better for Zoe Stark. And we're all about giving new women opportunities. Well, Liv Morgan's been trying to get opportunities this entire time. She's been getting nothing but opportunities and pushed to the main event scene too early in her career. She hasn't proven herself enough in terms of in-ring style and promo ability. She's not there for me. Sorry that turned into a massive rant, but I'm just a little bit pissed off that Zoe Stark's not a part of this match. I would have much preferred to see her in it. Judgment Day is making their way backstage, obviously heading out to the ring, and we end up seeing Damian Priest pulling Truth aside, and he's just making it publicly known. He's like, look man, we've been joking about this for quite some time, but you're actually not a part of the Judgment Day. Get it through your thick skull, you're not in the group anymore. And then we end up seeing R-Truth before he makes his way out to the ring for the match. He's trying to call the Miz. He's like, look Miz, I need you to come get me. Like, come on please Miz, like I need you right now. And then we end up going into the match between R-Truth and JD McDonough. So the match between JD and R-Truth is underway, and JD is on the attack straight away from the beginning. But Truth ends up turning it around. Truth is hitting a lot of great moves within this match. He ends up paying homage to John Cena by doing an attitude adjustment and a 5-knuckle shuffle as well too. But JD McDonough ends up hitting the devil inside to come away with the win. So JD McDonough beat R-Truth in this match. Then we end up seeing Judgment Day coming into the ring. They put R-Truth in the corner and it starts being a 4-on-1 beatdown segment. Then we end up seeing DIY come out to Truth's defense, which I was kind of confused how that happened, but then later on it very much got explained to me. Backstage for a few more segments, we got to see Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes catching up, basically saying that they are going to be at each other's defense forever and for as long as they need. And we see Becky Lynch is making her way out to the ring. So Becky Lynch comes out to the ring and she starts cutting a promo, and she's now talking about how this Mania season is finally underway. We're officially on the road to WrestleMania and it is incredibly unpredictable. She says that she loves this business so much. She's been a part of it for 15 years. She's been obsessed with it most of the time. She says, I've had a family come from this business. I met my husband. I have my daughter because of this business. She said there are plenty of downsides in terms of having this obsession, and she said that she's had to have some very hard conversations with her daughter about why her mum always looks beaten up, or why her mum can't pick her up because she's got a separated shoulder, or she's missed families and birthdays and her father's funeral. And at the end of the day, she said Rue is going to see the brutality that her mum is capable of at this Elimination Chamber match, and that she is going to get her title back. She says that at the end of the day, winning Elimination Chamber is the goal, and I want to go face to face with the most dominant champion that we have. And obviously everyone starts chanting Rhea Ripley like mommy. She asks, do you love mommy? She says that she hasn't faced anybody quite like me, and she asks everybody to put either their fists up or grab a cup or something, and she ends up toasting and saying, you know, we want to toast for the wild ride that this is going to be going into WrestleMania. Then Nia Jax comes out, and I'm a little confused. I'm like, why though? And she says, Becky, look, I have something to say to you. And she looks like she's about to start crying, and she's getting a bit upset, and she's look, I have so much respect for you, and I wish my mum was like you. If I ever get the chance to be a mum, I would like to be half the mum that you're going to be. And she said, look, at the end of the day, you are going to win the Elimination Chamber, and nothing is going to stop you from getting to WrestleMania, and that nothing will stop me from beating Rhea Ripley so that I can go up against you at WrestleMania. And I was like, okay. I was like, it's not going to be you, but like, nice try though. Then we see Rhea Ripley come out, and she makes a beeline for Nia Jax, and then we end up seeing Nia, Becky and Rhea kind of get into a brawling segment. Becky's on the short end of the stick. She doesn't want to be a part of the brawl, but ends up finding herself within it. So Nia ends up squashing Rhea and Becky in the ring post. Becky comes and drop kicks Nia, and then we end up seeing they stare off between Rhea and Becky. Then we end up seeing Rhea Ripley boot Nia Jax out of the ring as well too. I'm excited for the match. I think it's going to be great. I think Rhea Ripley's obviously going to come away with the win, but it's going to be a really good match at Elimination Chamber. Jackie Redmond is backstage catching up with Drew McIntyre, and Drew is talking to her about what's happening with Cody, and he said, look, at the end of the day, I tried to give the fans what they want. Seth was being selfish and he wanted Cody to go up against him, but at the end of the day, Cody needs to thank me because it's obviously worked out in my favour. And he said, if anything, I'm doing things the right way. We see R-Truth is backstage, and he's catching up with DIY, and he's thanking them for coming out to the defence. And Tommaso's like, yeah, no worries. Like, obviously, you know, Miz called us and we were here, so we thought we'd come help. R-Truth goes ahead and, like, he calls DIY DX. And I was just like, oh my god. He's like, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, the Cerebral Assassin, the Heartbreak Kid, blah, blah, blah. Like, thank you so much. And I'm like, oh my god. Truth, like they're DIY, not DX. But anyway, we then hit back to the ring, and we have another Elimination Chamber qualifying match. So it is Ivar taking on LA Knight from SmackDown. In the beginning of this match, Ivar is on the attack, but then LA Knight turns it around in his favour. He ends up squashing Ivar against the commentary table, so he's smashing his head in a few times, and then Ivar ends up dropping LA Knight into the barricade, and we end up seeing him smash him in the timekeeper's area as well too. We go to commercial break, and when we come back from the commercial break, LA Knight hits his signature cat-like agility to jump up on the top ropes to hit Ivar with a superplex. We end up seeing a tilt the world slam coming in from Ivar, and then Ivar kicks LA Knight. He ends up hitting a BFT to come away with the win, so LA Knight has now qualified for Elimination Chamber. I'm not gonna lie to you, if Ivar won this match, I would riot in my seat. I would be upset, I'd be pissed off, because I want to see the megastar, and that is all I'm asking for. And I got my wish, so I'm grateful for that. We head backstage, so we see Sami Zayn is backstage. He ends up running into Drew McIntyre. Drew says to Sami that he needs to keep his name out of Sami's mouth, and then we end up seeing Sami say that you're in my way, and he makes his way out to the ring. Adam Pearce is catching up with Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, obviously talking about Elimination Chamber. Chelsea Green comes in and demands to be a part of the Battle Royal. Now, the Battle Royal is for the contenders from the Elimination Chamber women's qualifying matches that didn't win. They're all going to have a Battle Royal to make up that last contender for the match. So Chelsea comes in, she's fired up because she thinks that she's a part of the match, but she's not. Then we end up seeing Indy get quite upset because she obviously wants to be a part of the match in some way, shape or form, because she's actually going to be from, like, she's from Australia. She's actually going to be there wanting to wrestle in front of her family. Then we see Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark come in, and they start asking about the tag titles, and then we see that Shayna Baszler wants Chelsea Green. To be honest, what I think is going to happen is they're going to have some form of, like, maybe fatal four-way match for the tag titles. I'm not too sure, but we really need to get Indy Hartwell on this card ASAP. Now, time for the main event. We have Sami Zayn taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, and I am not going to lie to you, this very much gave me NXT vibes, and I am incredibly here for it. From the beginning, Shinsuke Nakamura is in control of this match, and he ends up just absolutely kicking the crap out of Sami Zayn. Sami ends up throwing Shinsuke Nakamura over the top rope, and he hits this really awesome move. I don't think Michael Cole had a name for it, but it was incredible. It was like a fantastic sequence. After the commercial break, Sami ends up hitting Shinsuke with his elbow. Then Shinsuke hits Sami with kicks to the chest. We end up seeing a sliding German suplex coming in from Shinsuke Nakamura and a Michinoku driver from Sami Zayn as well too. Sami Zayn ends up flying, and after the commercial break, we're seeing both of them trading blows. Shinsuke Nakamura catches Sami Zayn with a kick, and then Sami hits his blue thunder bomb, and there was a really awesome ring post sequence with both of them. I recommend you check it out because it actually looked incredible. They both sold that incredibly well. So towards the end of the match, Sami Zayn ends up hitting a clothesline and an exploder. Drew McIntyre comes out and starts making a distraction for Shinsuke Nakamura to hit the Kinshasa to come away with the win. So Shinsuke Nakamura beats Sami Zayn in the main event. After this, Shinsuke and Drew McIntyre are double teaming, so they're both beating down on Sami Zayn, and Cody Rhodes comes in for the save. So that brings us to the end of the Monday Night Raw recap. If you guys stuck around till the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you go ahead, like the video, go ahead and comment something that you enjoyed about Monday Night Raw and how you felt about the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. Make sure while you're there, you go ahead and check out the description. You'll find all of our social medias for Outcasted, so where you can find us on other platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. While you're there as well too, you'll find all of our personal social medias so you can keep up to date with what we're doing when we're not posting on here. You've got your regular NXT review coming in from Reese this week, as well as a pop culture podcast coming in from all of us on Thursday, and your regularly scheduled SmackDown review will be coming in from either G or Ross this week, so stay tuned for that. Go ahead and turn on the bell notification while you're there too. We don't want you missing any of our uploads when we post, because sometimes they don't end up in the sub box, so make sure you go ahead and put on that bell so you don't miss any of our podcasts or reviews, because we'd hate for you to miss that. I'll see you guys in the podcast this week. Have a good one.